Everyone is building AI agents nowadays, but most of them remain stuck in prototyping phase. If you want to unlock a real business value out of it, you need to deploy them to production at scale. And there is one platform that allows you to build, deploy, and operate these AI agents in a secure manner. The name of that platform is Amazon Bedrock AgentCore. In this beginner-friendly tutorial, we are going to first build customer care AI agent using Langchain and Langgraph. Then we will deploy it and operate it from Amazon Bedrock AgentCore environment. We are going to cover all the essential features of this platform, and in the end, we are going to announce one challenge. The top 20 winners of this challenge will get $250 of AWS credit. Alright, let's get started. Let's look at the problem statement of our project. There is this company called Loki Phones, which is in a wireless calling business similar to Verizon or Reliance Jio. And they want to build an AI agent that can answer the customer's questions. So right now, they have this CSV file with questions and answers. So right now, the human agents that they have, whenever customer is calling the call center and when they ask any question, they refer to this CSV file. So this is their knowledge base, okay? So we are going to use this knowledge base to build an agent in Langgraph using RAG, agentic RAG actually. And once that agent is built, we will deploy it and operate it using AgentCore environment. This diagram highlights the main capabilities of this platform. You will first build an agent using any framework of your choice, Langgraph, Crew AI, etc. So you are essentially writing the code in any of these frameworks. Then you will use some of these capabilities to build the agent. For example, you need memory for your agent. Then you use this memory feature of AgentCore platform. You can also use code interpreter, browser, which are the built-in tools. You may want to call external REST API or MCP server. And for that, you can use gateways. For inbound and outbound authorization, you will use identity. And you don't want to run your agents without setting up the proper boundaries. For example, if a customer is issuing a refund beyond certain threshold, then you want to stop there. And to do that, you will use policies. So you can have a policy which will say that do not allow to issue refund beyond certain threshold. So these are the resources you will use along with the code which is written in any of the frameworks to build an agent, and then you will deploy it using Runtime. Once the agent is deployed, when you want to monitor it, you will use the observability feature. So here you can monitor and debug your agent. You can also use this evaluation feature here by using pre-built evaluators and custom evaluators. You can figure out how good your agent is. So there are three essential highlights here. The first one is time to value. See, you are just focusing on the business value that your AI agent is delivering. You don't have to worry about your infrastructures and operational headaches, okay? So you know that AWS platform is very popular because in general, it helps you avoid those operational and infrastructure headaches for your regular software developments. Similarly, AgentCore will help you remove the headache of infrastructure and op management for your AI agent. The second key highlight here is it is very flexible. You can create your AI agent using any framework or model. And the third one is it is trusted. Okay, there are security guardrails. There is IAM authentication. You can deploy them. They can scale well, right? In the end, it's AWS. So you can scale them in a reliable manner. We are going to explore all these features when we build, deploy, and operate our AI agent. All right. So as a next step, we are going to now do the Groq setup, Huggingface setup, and we will start building the agent in Langgraph. Huggingface is a platform that allows you to access variety of models and data sets for free. We are going to be creating an account by clicking on this sign up link, and having this account created will give you the HF token, and we can use HF token later on in this video. I have given my email ID and password. Let's click on next, and here just give your name, right, full name. You can give other details if needed, and then create an account. You will go through some verification, some more verification, and success. Okay, now check your email. So I'm going to open my email in another link and copy paste that particular link which I got in my email, and your address has been verified. Now here you can go to access tokens and create a new token. So it has 3 types of tokens. We are going to be using read because we'll be using the read operation mainly. So just give a token name. You can say AgentCore tutorial, whatever, just say something, and then copy that and save it at a safe place. For LLM, we are going to be using this Groq platform. It's a free cloud platform that allows you to use all these amazing models. Look at this, GPT, OSS, Llama, all of that. Creating an account is pretty straightforward. You can use Google or your email and just create an account. Once the account is created, go to API keys and create a new API key and note down that API key at some secret place. This is like your password, and we will be using that API key later on. While we are going to use Groq for this learning project, many companies which are in AWS ecosystem prefers Amazon Bedrock for LLMs. Bedrock provides so many different LLMs. So you can click on this and you will see all these models. You have Cloud Opus, Amazon Nova, Queen. You have so many different models that you can choose from, and for enterprise setup, staying in same ecosystem makes so many things easier for your project. Let's create a folder to store our code. So here I will create a folder called AgentCore tutorial. Okay, and we are going to provide you all the code of this complete video, and that code is in AgentCore's crash course. So if you check the video description below, you'll be able to download this entire directory, and from this I want you to copy pyproject.toml file and also Loki QNS CSV file. Okay, so let's Control C these 2 files. Actually the third file is sample env. Control C and put this here. Then launch the IDE of your choice. I like PyCharm, and in PyCharm I am going to open that project. So that project is where it is in C code directory. It is called AgentCore tutorial. So I'm selecting that folder. I'm going to open it. Okay, so I have this different code window, so I'll move it here, and then this is the project where I'll be doing my work. So we are going to first create the local agent. Okay, and we will be using UV as a package manager for Python. Now UV is a alternative of pip. Okay, it allows you to install the packages and so on. So go to their website. If you have not already installed it, you can go to their website and you can install it. See, I'm in Windows, so I'll go to my PowerShell. Okay, so you can open your PowerShell from your command prompt, and in that PowerShell just copy paste this command and it will install it. Okay, so UV is installed for me, and now I will go to terminal, and in this particular folder I will call it UV init. Okay, so here project is already initialized in this. Okay, so this file is already exists. Because this toml file exists, it will say okay, this project is initialized. Okay, so that is fine. Now you will say UV sync. So what this will do is, So let me open Pi project toml. So see here I have specified all the dependencies for this project, all the modules. We need Langchain, Langgraph, sentence transformer, and so on. So when you say UV sync, it will read that Pi project toml file, okay, and it will install all of it. If you want to add any additional package, right, like you can just say whatever. For example, let me just type the same thing like Langgraph, for example, and see. So this way it will initialize the environment for you, and it will install essentially all these dependencies for you. The next thing you will do is look at this sample.env file, okay. So Control C, Control V, you will copy it as .env file, and in this file put your HF token and Groq API key. We already got the values of these two, okay, so just copy paste the token and API key. Okay, so I set those things up. Now let's go to AgentCore crash course directory and copy this 00 langgraph agent.py. okay, so we are going to copy this here, and then I will go open this file. Now see, this is the simple agent that we have created, and what this agent is doing is a pretty simple thing. We have this Loki Q&A CSV file, right? So let me open it in a Excel so that there is a better visibility of it. It is just a question and answer pairs for this particular company, okay. Any customer department in any company will have this kind of FAQ, okay. If customer asks question, how long does activation take, okay, give this answer, okay. So we have this particular file here, and we are reading that file. See, load FAQ CSV. So we are reading that file by calling this load FAQ CSV function. See, here we are loading this particular file. Then we are using Huggingface, embedding, sentence transformers, okay. We are also using this RAG approach. Now if you don't know how RAG works, we have many other tutorials. I'm going to provide you a link. So the purpose of this video is not to explain you RAG, okay. We want to move to AgentCore quickly. That's why I'm just keeping things really quick, and you are loading .environment through which you will load those environment variables. And here we are creating a chat Groq using the GPT OSS model, okay. And then as a next step, what you're doing is, by the way, even if you don't do this, it's okay, because we have done the load.environment, okay. And we are creating this agent, create agent, which will take our model, GPT OSS model, and tools. Okay, what are the tools? Well, we have two tools, okay. So first tool is search FAQ. For a given query, it will do RAG approach. So in RAG, you will retrieve the semantically matching text blocks from your vector database, okay. So vector database is face from Facebook, and then we pass that to our context in the LLM. And let's say if you want to reformulate the query, you use these two tools, okay. So we essentially have these two tools. Folks, look at this code. It's pretty straightforward. As I said, if you don't know RAG fundamentals, I'm going to provide you another tutorial link, okay. So we have created this agent which has a model, which has a bunch of tools, and we are asking these questions, okay. Explain roaming activation. So now let's right click and run it. And before you run it, you need to set your system interpreter properly. So interpreter, okay. So what is my interpreter? So here my interpreter, as you can see, is AgentCore tutorial, in which you have .v environment script Python. Make sure this setting is set up, okay. Otherwise you can add a local interpreter. Let's say if this is set up to a different value, you can add a local interpreter. You can say select existing, and you can go to your directory, AgentCore tutorial, v environment scripts, and here select Python, okay. And which is what I have it already, so I don't need to make any change, okay. And then right click and run the project. So now it's using that particular virtual environment and it is running my agent. It took some time, but here is the answer. I asked the question on, okay, roaming related question, and it provided me this answer. Okay, so my local agent is now built and ready to be deployed to AgentCore. AgentCore runs within AWS, so obviously we have to set up AWS account, which is something we are going to do next. If you already have the account created, then skip this section. Folks, we will be using AWS in the upcoming chapters, so let's first set up the account. You can Google create AWS account and click on this link. Here, click on create a free account link. If you already have an account, then you can skip this video. You can log into your account. But if you don't, then sign up for AWS and here provide your email address. Okay. And then you can provide some AWS account name. I'm going to say Code Basics Dhaval, whatever. Account name doesn't matter that much. But here you can provide your Gmail ID. Once you do that, it will send an email to your email ID to verify. So I have done the verification and now I can provide my password. So just provide a password and proceed further. Okay, at some point it will ask you for selecting your plan. So I'm going to say, okay, free 6-month plan. Okay, so let's select that. And you can provide all the details here. So see, in the previous screen, it asked me for my credit card. It is not going to charge. Actually, they just do this credit card verification. So you will get some free credits. Okay, so you can provide your credit card details, etc. And then it will ask you for this SMS just for another verification. So here is send a code on my phone. So I'm just confirming my identity. So it will require multiple step of verification. Okay, so now see, my AWS account is set up. At any step, if you're feeling stuck, folks, use common sense. You have to use common sense. Take help of ChatGPT. Setting up an AWS account should not be a rocket science. You should be able to figure it out, folks. Okay, so please do that. And now I can go to AWS console where I'll be able to kind of see different offerings and different options that AWS has. Let's now install AWS CLI version v2. So just Google it and you will go on this particular page. AWS CLI is a way to access your AWS environment via command line interface. Now, based on the OS you have, you can click on one of these. So I have Windows, so I'm going to click on this and I will install it. So you can install it via MSI. So if you click on it, you can just execute this and install it. The other way is you can use a command line. So I'm going to use command line. So just copy this thing and in Windows, start the Windows PowerShell. Okay, so type in Windows PowerShell and you will get this and hit this and it will come up with this thing. Okay, so it will install it. It will take some time. Just follow your common sense steps to finish the installation. Okay, so for me, installation is going on and I'll be back when this is complete. It installed. After a few minutes, it was actually slow. And when you run AWS version, I can see AWS CLI version 2. I'm into my AWS management console where you can see different services. So here you can click and search for S3, for example. So S3 is a service within AWS environment that lets you store objects and people use it for data lake and variety of other purposes. You will also see AgentCore. Okay, so Bedrock, AgentCore, you will see all kind of services and whatever service you have used recently, they will be visible here. Now, one of the important services is identity and access management. So we will go here and we will create a new user because see, right now you are logged in as a root user, which has all kind of access. We want to create a user with some limited access. So let's call it AgentCore user. I will give it my name. Okay, Dhaval, and provide access to AWS management console, which means this user will be able to log in into this account, right? This particular account that I have, and they will have access to this management console. Okay, So auto-generated password is good. User must create a new password. Okay, we can uncheck it. It's a learning tutorial. Then you go next, add user to a group. Okay, so I will create a new group. I will call it AgentCore group. Let's say I'm in the AI team. Okay, see, these groups are used to group the users. So let's say you are working in a company. There is a data analysis team, there is AI team, there is data engineering team. So you'll create 3 groups, right? AI, DE, DA, those kind of groups. And here you are going to give certain accesses. So I'm going to give it administrator access. Okay, then I will also give the Bedrock full access. So let's search Bedrock, Amazon Bedrock full access. Okay, so let's do this, and then code build. So AWS cold build admin access, and the 4th one is Bedrock AgentCore full access, and say create a user group. So essentially I have created a user group who has access to all these capabilities. Okay, so what are the capabilities? Okay, they can access Bedrock, they can access AgentCore, you can give access to S3 and so on. Then you select this. So the user that I'm creating, I want it to be part of this particular group. Click on next. I think default options all, okay, everything is good. Create a user. And when it creates a user, it will give you the console sign in. Okay, so let's say whenever you want to log in as this user, you will use this sign in, this username, and this particular password. So you can note it down somewhere in a safe location. You can also download the CSV file which will contain those credentials. So that CSV file that I downloaded has this username, console, sign in URL, and the password. Okay, so now let's return to the user list. So I have that CSV save. You also save that CSV file to a safe location. Now let's go to that user. Click on this user and click on create access key. Click on command line interface. Okay, I understand the above recommendation. So right now what I'm doing is, for this user, I'm creating an access key which I will supply to AWS CLI. Okay, and that way from CLI, which is a command line interface, see command line interface, I will be able to access this account as that particular user. Okay, as we work on this tutorial, you will understand what I'm trying to do here. Just say create access key. Now it has created access key and secret access key. So now go to your PowerShell and say AWS configure. So you have AWS CLI, it will configure the default account. And what is my default account? Well, it is this particular user, AgentCore user double. And for this, you need AWS access key ID. So AWS access key is this. So let's type in this. Okay. And then the password. So copy this. Default region is US East 1. I will keep it default. If you are in Asia something, provide your region. Okay, and you can Google, you can use ChatGPT and you can say, okay, I am in Delhi, whatever, Mumbai, what region I should provide. Or sometimes, you know, you can see your region here, like from the drop down. So use your common sense, figure out. I live in US East Coast, so I'm going to say US East 1. The default output format, I will say it is JSON, and that's it. Now I want to make sure that this configuration is okay. So let's type in this command, AWS STS get caller identity, and I see my user ID, my account, right? So my user ID. So if I go to, let's click on done. You haven't viewed or downloaded a secret key. Oh, I see. So I will also download this secret key somewhere. Okay, so it's in another CSV file. Okay, we had initial CSV file for my user credential. This one is the user's access key. So two CSV file. Okay, so let's make sure you have copied it to a safe location. I will click on done. And see here, when I say STS get caller IDT, my ARN, which is Amazon resource number, right? It's the resource name is this user AgentCore user double. See, so it has configured it properly. You can also run this command where you say AWS S3 LS. So it will list down the buckets that you have. Okay. So in my account here, see, it is showing me all these buckets, right? Sports bar DP, sales double SF1. And when I go to my S3 service here, let's go to S3. And if I look at my buckets, see, I'm finding all those buckets. You see sports bar, sales DF, stocks, daily data. So this means my AWS CLI, so CLI I'm running on my local computer via Windows PowerShell. It is having now access to my AWS account on cloud. So now using this command, now I can perform different operations on my cloud account. Now comes the most interesting part, which is running agent in the Amazon Bedrock AgentCore environment. So here, type in Bedrock AgentCore, okay, click on it. So it will show you the page for Bedrock AgentCore, and it has different capabilities or different services such as runtime, identity, gateways, memory, observability, and so on. Right now we are going to use runtime to run our agent, which we ran locally previously, into AgentCore environment. So let's go to our code, and here let's create a new file, okay? Or maybe I can just copy paste this, Control C, Control V, and let's call this AgentCore runtime.py. Okay. So this is the file I have, and this is the agent that we ran previously. So we know it is working. So now we are going to import some library here. So let's import this Bedrock AgentCore runtime. From that, you are importing Bedrock AgentCore app, and you are creating an instance of this app. Okay. And then you will write an entry function. So let me show you that entry function. So that entry function is going to be, let me see, here is the system prompt agent. Let me put it here. Okay. So whenever we call this particular agent from the AgentCore environment, due to this annotation, it will invoke this particular function, and it has payload and context. Okay, so what you get from payload and context is payload is used to pass information such as prompt. So it's a dictionary. It will have different elements. One of the important elements will be prompt. So when you invoke this agent, you will supply this prompt, and it will come in payload variable, and then you will invoke it. Okay, so once you have a query, of course you will, the same agent object that you use, you will invoke it. Then you will have the result here. We are just printing all of that for our verification, and you return this result. In your main file, you will just say app.run. All right, so now we have made our agent such that it can run in the AgentCore environment, and you saw that this API is so good that we had to make only few lines of code change, right? We just added these 2 lines and we created this invocation function. So in a few line of code change, now your agent is ready to run on AgentCore environment. Now let me use this terminal. Okay, so in my PyCharm, I am in this particular terminal, and let me just move it on the right. So move to a right top. That way I can show you things side by side. And here I am going to run this command, AgentCore help. Now I got this command because in pyproject.tml toml file, if you remember, we have installed all the necessary libraries. Okay, so the help shows a couple of functions. So the first function that we are going to use is AgentCore configure. Okay, so let's do this. So I will say AgentCore configure -e, and then See, in this directory, right, AgentCore tutorial directory, I have a file called 0 AgentCore runtime. This is the file, right? This is the file we created. So AgentCore runtime.py. Let's see what this will do, and then I'll explain the purpose of it. So here I'm running this command and it is asking me a bunch of information. So essentially I am creating a YAML file which will contain all the necessary information for AgentCore to run this particular agent. So first it is asking me for the name of the agent. Okay, so let's provide name of the agent. Then okay, dependency file is pyproject.toml. Yes, exactly. Let's do this. Execute role AR and name, press enter to auto create. So I will just say enter. It knows. Remember, we configured we configured everything, so it will know which ARN to take. ECR is Amazon's Elastic Container Repository. Okay, so it will use that. We are going to provide it as a default. And also, by the way, deployment configuration, we have used container. Deployment type is container. So container is a Docker based deployment. So it will create a Docker and use the Docker for the deployment. So ECR, press enter to take whatever is the default. Configure OAuth. By default it uses IAM. Okay, I want to use IAM. I don't want to use OAuth. So let's say no here, and then configure request allow head. Okay, hit enter using default, and then here memory manager initialization for no existing memory resources found. Press enter to create new memory. Type S to skip memory setup. So I'm going to skip the memory setup. So press S, enter, and that's it. Okay, now what this did is it has created this Bedrock AgentCore YAML file, which I'm going to open. So our agent is not deployed yet. Okay, all it did so far is created this YAML file, and it's a configuration file, right? It says, okay, platform is this, deployment type is runtime, your entry point is this particular file, your source parse is this. It is showing me all my AWS account ID, all of that. Okay, so you can explore this file. Now the next step is to use launch. So AgentCore launch, and here we are going to supply the environment variable, because our environment variables are stored in .env. Okay, so that environment I'm going to supply. So I will say that here Groq API key is equal to, I will supply my key. Okay, so I've supplied my key, hit enter, and now it is launching this agent, right? So it is launching as in it is deploying this agent to the AgentCore environment. After some wait, looks like it worked okay. I see only green boxes, there is no error, etc. And now we are ready to invoke our agent. So we can just say AgentCore invoke and type in your question. So now this is going to call the agent and I will get my response. So I had some issue with the formatting which I fixed. So I am passing double quote outside and single quote inside. So it called the AgentCore in the cloud environment. So my agent is now running in AgentCore AWS cloud environment. And when I said invoke this, it sent this request to that agent. And then I got this response back here. And when I go to Bedrock, you see my agent is ready. So when I actually launched it at that time, this agent was ready. Make sure you are passing the correct region. Okay, so I was having East 2. East 2 doesn't have anything. But remember, we used East 1 as a region. So it has this. Also, you get this GenAI dashboard. So if you click on it, I will get this link where I don't see anything, but let me change my region to 2. So ES2. And here, let's see what it is showing. I think it's not showing anything because there are two things, like you need to wait for 10 minutes or so, and it also requires span ingestion. So we can ignore this for now. One additional thing I want to mention is this page that mentions AWS capabilities by region. So if you say start exploring, and let's say you want to figure out a specific capability, whether that is available in a specific region or not, in that case, let's say we want to know AgentCore, where is it available? So right now I am in US East 1 and it is available there. But here you can choose different regions. Okay, so let's say Tokyo, for example. So in Tokyo, let's see if I remove it. Yes, it is available. And let's look at Hyderabad here. So let's remove here. So see, Hyderabad, it's coming in 2026 Q3. So this way you have awareness on which service is available in what region, and you can make architectural and design decisions accordingly. But see, here you can see that this particular agent is running. Okay, you can see like a different, like the observability, runtime sessions, runtime throttle rate, all of that. You can see all those observability parameters here. You can also monitor the logs. So it has something called log insight. So if you click on this log insight, okay, let me open that. And you want to see the logs which are, in last few seconds, whatever logs came by, you want to see it. So you will say, so let me just do it in a different way. I will click on view in logs insights here so that I can see it easily. Run query. And when I run it, see, I see those logs. The context, the prompt, the payload right now. Remember, we put that code for the payload. So the payload is nothing but in this particular file, we had the print statement. Received payload and context. See, received payload and context. And that is what you are seeing here. Received payload. Payload has just prompt. That's it. And the context has this session ID and a request header. Now let me clear this out. Okay. And let me ask a different question. So I will say activate it for Dubai. Okay, I asked question on the roaming, and now I'm asking a follow-up question, activate it for Dubai. See, it doesn't have memory, so it doesn't know the previous question. So it is just giving general answer, activating your service for Dubai. Let me type in a better question. I can say, which country am I talking about? It should say UAE, right? Because Dubai is in UAE, but it doesn't have any memory. So it is saying, I'm not sure which country you are referring to. So as a next step, we will look into the memory. To set up the memory, let's click on memory option here and click on create memory. Here you can specify for how many days you want to keep your short-term memory. I will say 99 days. Okay. And you can give some memory name. You can say that AgentCore, or let's say customer care agent memory. And here in the built-in strategies, there are a couple of strategies here. I'm going to click on the first two, which is summarization. This will summarize interaction to preserve critical context and key insights. So this is a strategy to extract long-term memories from raw interactions. See, as a human also, we do all the raw interactions, but our brain somehow keeps the key points from those interactions so that we can recall. Similarly, here you are summarizing the interactions to preserve critical context and key insights. Okay, so it's some kind of strategy. Then second one is semantic memory. So we are going to click on that too. So this will extract general factual knowledge, concepts and meaning from raw conversations. Okay. Now AgentCore is a brand new platform. It is evolving. We are seeing new and new options being added. So if you see new options either in memory or anywhere else, don't be surprised. Okay. They are making it better and better day by day. All right. I think built-in strategy with override. Let's say if you want to add your own strategy for memory management, you can click on add strategy here. Okay. And this one is self-managed. Anyways, for this project, this much setup is enough. And when you say create memory, see, this type of memory is created. So now when I go to memory, see here, I will see this memory. It is still creating it. Okay. So here, this is the memory ID. So now in your agent, when you specify this memory ID, it will use this particular object in AWS environment to store that memory. Now, folks, please open the folder of the code that I have given to you. Okay. And in that, copy this file, AgentCore memory. Copy this file to your AgentCore tutorial folder. Okay, so I have copied it. And now I will be able to see it here. Now see here in this code, I have added the memory management. So my region, I will say US East 1. So update the region here. Okay, whatever is the region for your AWS account, you should have that region here. And also the memory ID. Okay, copy it from here and put it here. So this is your memory ID. And remaining things are as it is. So what I'm going to do is first deploy this new agent, and then I will go over the code and I will explain, how this thing works. So first, let's see the final impact, and then I will explain. So here, what we are going to do is now we will use this particular file, okay, this particular invocation function from this new file to build our agent. So what are the steps? Well, first is AgentCore config. Okay, so you will say AgentCore config, and in that config you will add the name of this new file, which is 02 agentcore memory.py. Okay, so let's run this. So here you need to give the agent name. So I will just say inferred agent name is this. Okay, I'll just keep it like this, AgentCore memory. Invalid agent name. Okay, the agent name is invalid. Okay, it should start with a letter. So let's call it AgentCore with, or just simple, right? Like agent with memory. Okay, pyproject.toml file. In case if you have a requirement.txt file, you can change it. Okay, you can specify what file you want to use it as a dependency. And for container, we are going to use the Docker based container environment. We want it to infer the ARN name. ECR repository is whatever is the default. So just hit enter. Here you will say no. Here configure request header, no. And then now this is amazing. See, it detected that you have this memory object called customer care agent memory. So simply just hit 1. So 1 is the ID. So let's say if you have multiple memory objects, it will show 1, 2, 3, etc. And you have to give the ID. So right now we have just 1. So I will say 1, enter. And now what it did is it configured this new agent using this new file. The agent name is agent with memory, and it used that memory object that we created in the AgentCore. Now the second step is the launch. Okay, so let me run launch, and you will specify your Groq key. Okay, so let's hit enter here. After some wait, my agent is now ready in my AgentCore environment. So if I go to my AgentCore page, here I will see this, see, agent with memory, it is ready. At this stage, we can make some invocation. Okay, so let's invoke by asking that basic question, tell me about roaming activations. And see, it fetched that answer. Okay, now I will ask the other question, which is activate it for Dubai. And now it should remember that previous question. See, activating roaming for, see, it knows that previously I was talking about the roaming. And here, let me ask one more question, which is, which country was I referring to? Now, due to the memory, it should know that, see, previously you are referring to Dubai, which is United Arab Emirates. All right. Look at this. This is so amazing. My agent is now having this memory due to which it is able to remember the previous context, just like ChatGPT. Now I want to point out a few things. See, when we did agent configure with that second agent, if you have noticed our YAML file, in YAML file, see, previously we had this one agent, but now it added this another agent with memory, and you can see all this configuration. So I encourage you to look at it so that you can get an idea on what's happening under the hood. Now let's look at our code for this AgentCore memory, right? We have not understood this code yet. So here in this particular code, this is the main statement, okay? When you create an agent, at that time you can specify the memory. Now we added these three new parameters. So check pointer and store are basically your short-term memory and your long-term memory. So check pointer is a short-term memory. Short-term memory means for this session, for this conversation, okay? If I go to ChatGPT and if I start asking all these questions, during that particular session, it will remember the previous context. So that is short-term memory, and it is specified by check pointer. Long-term memory is something that it will remember between the threads. So you might have noticed that you log off your computer, right? And after 2 days, if you ask something, it would have remembered your personality, your way of asking, all of that. So that is long-term memory. And that is something that you specify using this store object, okay? So if you look at the documentation for Langchain, okay, for this create agent function, here you will find that the store, right? The store and check pointer. So optional check pointer saver object used for persist in the state of the graph for a single thread, meaning single conversation, whereas store is used for multiple conversation across the threads. Okay, so just to summarize, this is short-term memory, this is long-term memory. We also specified the third argument, which is middleware. Okay, so what exactly is middleware? So let's look at it. So if you look at the documentation here, a sequence of middleware instances to apply to your agent. And if you look at the documentation for middleware, it is essentially a hook, you know, pre-hook and post-hook. Before you make a call to LLM, if you want to add something. So usually what happens is, the way memory works is, before you make a call to LLM, in your prompt, you will add the previous context. And after the call is made, after you get the response, you might want to add the new question to your memory, or you want to do something related to telemetry, right? All of that can be done by middleware. Okay, so the plain call without middleware will look something like this, right? Request, model, tools, whatever. And with middleware, it will look something like this. See, before model, after model. So you are basically having these hooks. So let me show you what kind of hooks we have. So first of all, let me show you the check pointer and store object. So if you click on check pointer, see, we have imported these classes from Langgraph. Now we have another Langgraph video. If you go watch it on our channel, we have talked about check pointer. So check pointer is a way to store your conversation, your memory in Langgraph, right? So from Langgraph, you're importing AgentCore memory saver, AgentCore memory store. Memory saver is a short-term memory. This is a long-term memory. So we created these two using the memory ID, right? Memory ID is something that we created in our AgentCore environment. And then the middleware. Okay, so let's look at how we have set up the middleware. See, middleware is nothing but a class. See, if you look at middleware here, it is a class, and the class has this pre-hook and post-hook. So in pre-hook, what you're doing is essentially you are getting this store object in the function, right? And if you look at the store object, it's derived from base class, base store class. And if you look at all these classes, right? See, this class, if you look at it, it is eventually derived from base store. So you can trace back all that and you can confirm it. Okay, so let's go to middleware now. So here, from your store, from your memory store, right? From your memory store, pre-model hook. So in pre-model hook, see, you will first get the agent state. So in Langgraph, it's a graph and you get the state. And from state, you are getting the messages. And that message you first put into your store. Okay. And then save the last human message to long-term memory, essentially. And you want to do the search in your store, semantic search, right? Retrieve user preference from long-term memory, search across all the sessions. And previously, whatever question I asked, right, Dubai, whatever, it will retrieve that from the store. So these are the preferences. And that you will add to your memory context so that it knows that previously I was talking about Dubai. And in the post model hook, let's say you got the response from your LLM. And after that, if you want to do something with your response, you will do that. So one thing you want to do is save the last AI message to your store. See, this is your memory store and you are saving it here. All right, so that was a quick information on how this memory class works. We are glad that now the memory feature is working for our agent. Let's explore a few more features. We will look at observability. So if you click here, you will go to the observability page where you will see different agents that you have running. So right now the agents are loading and it shows me this 3 agents. So it shows 2 agents with memory because I had created multiple agents with memory, okay, to introduce some error scenarios, and you can see some errors here. Okay, so what you can do is you can click on this default and go to the dashboard for that agent. Okay, so let me go there. This is the new agent that I created. So if I click on default here, it will show you all the traces for that agent. Okay, so if I click on this, see, I made like those 3 invocations, correct? And I can click on this and it will show me the trace. See, here it says invocation completed successfully. It will show you the timing, the breakdown of all the calls. You can look at the trajectory, right? See, it will show you the visual, like graphical representation of all the calls which were being made. You can also look at the JSON object here. See, now once I had an error where I gave a wrong memory ID. Okay, so I gave this and I built that agent, and that is the second agent that you are seeing. Okay, and that resulted into this error. See, and when you look at the trace, I was able to find out what was the issue. See, resource not found exception, customer C is missing. So I purposefully introduced that error, and when I ran that agent, through this observability platform, I was able to find the exact error. You can also go to runtime, by the way, and look at any agent. And here, see, you can go to the logs or dashboard. So let's look at the dashboard. You will find the same UI that we have, right? So here you have overview, you have sessions. So how many sessions did we run with that particular agent? So see, here we just had 1 session, correct? See, we have these 3 traces. There is this 1 session. Folks, I will encourage you to explore this. See, you'll be able to see all the CPU consumption, memory consumption. Here it shows you the KPIs, like client errors, throttles, and so on. Let's explore a few more features. Identity is used for authentication. So for example, you can use OAuth, let's say using your Google credentials or using your Facebook credentials. You can authenticate yourself. Okay, so here there is an inbound auth. So as you can see in the picture, let's say you are creating this customer service AI agent. So the caller will call and it will do the authentication at this level. And there is outbound authentication. So the hosted agent can access some of the resources in AWS environment. For that, there is this outbound authentication as well. Then there are built-in tools. So you know that in agent that we created, we passed the tools which were just Python function, right? So if you look at our agent here, the tools that we used, actually, see, these were the 2 tools and they were custom defined Python function. But let's say you want to use a browser. So in that case, you can use this particular built-in tool. So you can create a browser and you can configure it. You can also use code interpreter. In some of the use cases, you might use code interpreter as one of your tools. Then we have this agent sandbox. So let's say you created an agent and you want to test it. So you can test it here. So let me copy input payload here, right? So this is my agent with memory. Okay. Endpoint is whatever is the default. And when I run it here, you see the response. So in the sandbox environment, if you want to test it, this feature becomes pretty handy. Observability is something we have looked at it. Evaluation is very important. These agents are non-deterministic in nature. They are generative. They generate different answers. So it is very essential that we use evaluation feature here to evaluate them. Okay, there is a way to create the evaluation configuration, custom evaluator, and view results in AgentCore observability. In the agent that we created, we are using Python functions as tools. So these are the Python functions that we define in our code base. But sometimes you may want to use the built-in tools, which we already saw in our AgentCore platform. These built-in tools are browser, code interpreter, and so on. And on some other occasion, you might need external tools such as calling some MCP server or REST API. So now, Python function is something we already tackled. Built-in tool is something that AgentCore platform provides. But how do you exactly call MCP server or REST API? For this, we have a feature called gateways. See? Gateways, they allow you to use external tools within your agents in a secure way. So when you create a gateway, you can do all the configuration and you can specify what is your target, whether it's MCP server, it can be a Lambda function, it can be REST API. Okay, it can be any of these 4 types of target. There is also this option of policy where you can create a policy engine, which is a collection of policies that will evaluate and authorize agent tool calls. Let's assume you have this customer care AI agent, and the person who is smiling right now, he's asking for a refund to this AI agent. Now, let's say you have this REST API. This REST API is called a refund, right? Like, or issue refund. So that is the function call that you have. And you want to create a policy where if the refund is above certain threshold, you don't want to allow it. In that case, in this policy engine, you can put your policies, right? You can create like a bunch of policies. One of the policies is that if the refund amount is greater than certain threshold, right? If it is more than certain threshold, then don't allow it. So this way, you can establish necessary restrictions which are necessary for your business operation. As they have mentioned it here, when you associate it with a gateway, it will intercept all the agent requests and determines whether to allow or deny based on the policy. That's it, folks. Now let's talk about competition. Check video description. You will find a PDF file that contains the exact problem statement and how do you exactly participate and submit your solution in order to become a winner in this competition. The first 20 winners, each of them will get $250 of AWS credit. So please check it out. We want to thank Amazon Bedrock AgentCore team for providing this credit course and also for sponsoring this video. If you have any questions, there is a comment box below. Thank you for watching.